200 Series Cruiser, as you know, if you're following us, you see the Cruiser. It had a roof rack on the back, or on the top rather, with the awning. Didn't really like it. I hated it. I couldn't tie anything down on it. The bars on it were too big for ratchet straps, and it was just a real pain in the ass to put anything on the roof, and it was steel. So I've gone away from that idea. We've decided, well, I've had a look around, I've looked at the base rack, ARB base rack, and I ended up with a Rhino rack. Reason being I didn't go to the base rack is the bars run across the car, left to right, and there was no support in the middle. So I had a look at them at the show, and just putting a little bit of just the pressure of my hand at the show, pushing down, they were actually bowing. So I figured once I actually put some load, like my water tank and everything up there, I'm going to end up with bowed rails, and that wasn't my cup of tea. So I'll show you the Rhino one. So the Rhino one's got support rails front to back on the platforms, and then support rails. So in my opinion, they're built a lot stronger. So we'll give this one a shot, and it was actually cheaper too. So we're going to fit that up today, end up with the backbone system. So everyone's probably seen this before. Backbone. So that's what we're going to do. I'll give you a look as we go. Right, so this is obviously had a roof rack on it before. This is what you're looking at here. This is where your holes are that you bolt down to the roof. Now, it's been known, and I've been told myself, these here have a nut or a cage that sits underneath the roof. Don't push down on them too hard, because it'll break the cage, the bracket falls into the roof, and then you've got to pull half the hood lining out to be able to remove that bracket to get it back up into place. So that's tip number one. And they leak, especially cruisers. I think the Prados do too, probably anything that is this style of setup. So make sure these do come with a bitumen. I'm going to seal them with a thread seal as well. So the bitumen goes over this and seals it up, but I'll put thread seal on them. Also, I've got to remove all this because I had a solar panel up on the roof for the last rack. So we'll get rid of all the wiring out of the way, and I'll show you as we go. Instructions are pretty good. I'll show you the instructions. So different models have different roof setups. The fancier models, like I think the VXs and the Saharas, have like a roof bar on them. So it goes through and it shows you how to remove all that. Pretty good instructions if you're unsure. Not too bad at all. Alright, so I'll get rid of this wiring and we'll keep moving. So, the last two roof racks I've had on this have only mounted in 3 positions. So 1, 2 and up the back. This Rhino rack mounts in 4 positions, so this is still the original bracket. So just take your screws out, lift it up. I've vacuumed around it because there was all crap and shit in there. So maybe it might be worth just to give it a clean up first. You can still see there's some there. I'll tidy that up as well. So that's obviously your sealing surface. So we'll keep moving forward, get that tidy, and I'll show you the backbone. Alright, so as I'm going, this originally had genuine Toyota roof rails on it. So I've just realised that this section that's never been used before varies because the Toyota rails had looks like a copper washer. So just make sure you pick that off and get that all nice and clean, because obviously the backbone is going to want to sit flat. If you've got all those on up this end, it's going to sit funny at this end. So that's just a little learning experience as we go. Alright, so that's what it looks like. That's what it was. So all I've done is just a damp toothbrush and then just wiped it out with a rag just to tidy it up a bit on all 3. I'll just do this last one. I'm just trying to give you an idea of what's involved. So obviously all the crap gets caught in the roof. I noticed I've got a couple of little spots. So just here, the paint's chipped off. And there's another little spot there, so I'm going to put some rust proofing on that while I'm going. There's a couple of little marks there, so I don't know. It depends how pedantic you are. I am, but I'll be rust proofing that because that's where the moisture sits. Alright, so I've just started going through and putting these tar, I suppose you call them a seal. There's 16 of them for each hole. Now what I did find is, I'll show you, this is the seal, but when you go to put on, that hole's actually smaller than what that is. So all I've been doing as I go is just getting a hole punch. It's about the same size, and just reaming them out a little bit just so they sit over the top a bit nicer. And then I just get the toothbrush, end of the toothbrush, and it just gets them to sit down nice and flat. You can see that. So I'll just keep moving through and doing those, and I'll come back to you. Alright, so I'm just about to install the backbone. So that's what she looks like. I'll put silicone around it as well, and I'll put the rust proofing on. So I'll go and get the backbone now, and we'll see if we can get that up there and get it bolted down. Righto, so that's bolted on. I'll give you a look up top too. Bit of an arse to put on. Your bolts. You see your bolts down in here, under here. Alright, so they go through these holes here. And the problem I had, I'll show you, that's what they supply. It's not long enough to get down to be able to tighten them. It's too awkward to get into a couple of them from the back side. So I ended up using one I had with a ball on the end of it. Still a pain in the ass. Gets jammed up in the hole, so the hole should probably be a little bit bigger. But that's alright, got it sorted. So I'll go and do the other side now. It's quite time consuming. I reckon probably been going maybe an hour and a half just to put that on. So yeah, just bear in mind it's going to take you a bit of time to do. Okay, that's what it looks like. Both sides are done. I reckon it's probably an easy 3 hours. Like I said before, but I was sort of making sure it's sealed up and touching up those little chips of paint. So now we're going to see what's involved in actually fitting the platform to it. Very time consuming. So I've got it fitted now. We ended up stuffing around and there's a bit of drama with the GoPro, so I'll pick up where I left yous, or whereabouts. I'll try and run you through what I actually did. So we'll just turn you around. As you can see, the awning's on there now. So I think I left yous at the backbone, which is under there. So then you've got 6 bolts. There's one of them, and they run down. There's 3 on each side, and they just slide into a channel similar to this here. So you just drop a piece of steel in, and the bolt goes through the top. I can actually show you one of them. So I've got a couple of leftovers. Righto, so this is how you put your accessories on. So that just sits in there. It's just a piece of threaded steel, slides along there, and you can put your bolt in, screw it down to whatever accessory you're putting up here. They also do eye bolts. I just went and bought my own because they're way cheaper to buy them from Bunnings. I'll give you a look at them too. So you just put your steel in, obviously, and then screw your eye bolt onto and they can be moved anywhere in the roof rack, wherever you want to tie down to. As you can see up the front there, I've got a solar panel on here. I've just made up aluminium brackets. It's a folding one. I'll go up a bit closer, give you a look. I've had this on another car before. I like the idea of a folding one, just purely because it doesn't take up my whole rack. I can fold it back up. So it just bolts down, same deal, but we can close it. And I've still got the length of the rack on one side then. So that worked for me last time, one of the other 4-wheel drives I had. So I've done it again with the same panel. So I've just got to tidy it up, give it a clean, and it's pretty well finished. Dramas I come across, the 200 series, if you look at the side of them, the roof's tapered. So you've got a big gap here, and you haven't got so much there. So it just looks a bit funny, but once you start getting accessories on it, it's okay. I don't know if you can pick that up looking down there. The roof rack had the awning brackets. I ended up just buying some Rhino ones. These are for the bat wing. It was just easier than trying to make some because I wanted the awning to sit lower than it was last time. For obvious reasons, the missus trying to get on the car parks and stuff like that. But these can be put on both ways too, so if you want to, you can flip the bracket and then the awning will obviously sit up higher. The wiring for this panel I already had up there, but I'll show you what I did. So it comes through there, through the windscreen, up the side here, and then it's just zip tied up underneath the backbone, and then over there to the where I put an Anderson plug underneath the panel, so I can remove it if I need to. So that's about it. Shit of a job. Took me, I reckon, 5 hours to do. It was an absolute turd of a job. I think when I got quotes, ARB were doing them for around the $300 mark for fitting. So if I was you, I'd get someone to fit it. It was a turd of a job. Another thing too, when we were setting up, all these have to be put in the right spot to be obviously to line up there, and you can move all them. I couldn't find anything in the instructions on where they actually were meant to go. What were in the instructions, it just didn't sit right, didn't look right. I ended up finding another fella on YouTube that had fitted one, and he had some measurements. I used those and they worked well. So yeah, all right, so that's it. Rhino rack on a 200 series. Hope that helps you out if you're wondering or thinking about doing it yourself. I mean, as I say, that it is a turd of a job, but if you got time, it's doable, and you don't want to spend the money, it's doable. All right guys, thanks.